I am introducing you to a great American and a wonderful friend of mine, Robert McClaran. We've been friends for almost 30 years, 20 plus. He is a great storyteller, and you're going to get a lot of good out of this. He's a pickup man, certified journeyman farrier, a huge farrier practice, and we have been friends forever. So thank you very much for watching, and I hope you enjoy it. All right, that syncs it up so I can line up my video and my audio.
What's it do?
Lines up my audio and video. So those two claps. So you know in the, you watch TV in the old days and they had the scene one and they did that?
Yeah.
So that allowed all of the cameras or whatever audio they had to sync up. So whenever they went in later, they could have that strike.
I wonder why they had that snap.
Yeah.
So now you taught me something. I'm trying to figure out something.
Everybody, I am here with Robert McClaran and of the clan McClaran, and he's been a farrier and a friend for, man, decades.
Decades. Yeah, because I think when you came to Carl's shop, where it was me, Carl, Ed, and Adam Scott, the first time I met you, I don't think my girls were born yet.
Yep.
I mean, and they just turned 25.
And who was Carl?
Carl Lehman. You came to the shop. You actually in Oak Grove, just on the south side of Oak Grove.
I remember him.
Yeah, it was.
I did a little private clinic type thing.
Yep, it was me, Ed Reardon, and Adam, Carl, and Adam Scott.
How long have you been shooting at that time?
I think 7 years.
Okay, so you've been going a while.
Yeah, because I didn't want anybody to know how stupid I was. So I rode with Ed. Asked me to ride with him one day when I just got out of shooting school, and I had no idea what to do. And I sit there and watched him all day.
What year was this?
Oh, it had to have been, I got out of shooting school February 91, so it probably was 92 or 93, something like that.
All right, and so here we're 2025. You're 34 years later, huh?
34 years later. It's hard to believe. I can remember meeting a horseshoer around where I live, and he wanted to meet me before he referred me. And he told me he was shoeing 10 years, and I thought, oh my gosh, 10 years? I've been shoeing horses 10 years. And then here it is 34 years later. Yeah. And it's...
Oh, yeah. But, even the people that are, bankers or whatever, they're our age, they're like, boy, it's gone like that. So, time just does that.
Yeah. But I can honestly say that, I mean, and realistically, anybody that loves this business is how blessed are we to have found horseshoeing.
Unbelievable.
I mean, I think of, because when I grew up in town.
Oh yeah,
none of my family at all have anything to do with horses.
Really?
Never grew up around horses.
Where did you grow up?
Blue Springs in the subdivision.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah, I didn't get my first horse till I was 16, and I begged and pleaded, and I met I got to be friends with a guy in school, and his parents had some ground, and they said that I could bring a horse out there. And my dad had nothing to do with horses. My mom had no. My dad
what did they do?
He was my dad was a computer programmer, and my mom was an aviation insurance salesman.
No kidding. See, I did not know that. Because you're a pickup man in rodeo now.
Yeah.
And I just assumed.
I saved all my grandpa's Field and Stream magazines and cut all the Marlboro commercials out of those Field and Stream magazines because they was all cowboys, the Marlboro Man, and they had the most beautiful horses on their.
Did you smoke too?
No, I didn't smoke. But my whole wall, you couldn't hardly see the paint on the walls
For the horses.
Yeah.
I'll be dang. And you still love horses.
Oh, I love them.
Yeah.
Yeah, the horses.
It's great. Isn't it?
Honest to God, my horses, or my entire existence.
Your personal horses.
Yep.
Yeah.
I mean, every single thing I do.
Now, listen, I know, Laura, just don't listen. Don't listen to that.
She knows. She's a horse girl too. So, but everything I do, I mean, from where I live to how much I work to what I spend my money on, I mean.
Well, let's talk about how much you work. So,
now I've slowed down a bunch. I really have.
So you used to be famous. I'd be hanging out with Dusty. We'd be having a beer or two at 9 o'clock.
We call Robert. Hey, Robert, how you doing? Oh, good. I'm about done. Got 4 more. We're like, you were a machine.
Yeah.
Why did you push so hard?
Um,
The rumor was that you didn't like your wife. So
no, at the time, my wife, I actually really did like her, but I can remember her saying, "Can you please just be home by 9? Can you just get home by 9 o'clock?" And I'm like, no. And the only time I've ever counted, and this is not a recommendation, but I counted how many horses that I had on the books that were done every 5 to 8 weeks. And I had helper 1 day a week on a Thursday. Kit.
right,
Kit was my,
Kid Gillian. He come to school here
yep.
20 years ago.
Yeah. And I had 648 horses that didn't include babies and brood mares.
So you're 100 a week, easy.
Easy, 100 a week.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'm gonna look at my cameras, make sure we're rolling, because you never know when that. Oh yeah, we're rolling good. You don't want to get all the way done and then find out
Right. Have you done that yet?
I did one with Jace Ellis the other day, and so Jace was sitting there, and I had Kelly look at the camera, and I had it too far this way, so I was blocking him every time I moved my hand. So it ruined it. So I had to reshoot that one.
Huh.
All right. So 648 horses. How many of them were shod, or is that just the shoes?
I mean, no, that was total horses. So
And with helper just 1 day.
helper 1 day. Yep. And
Wow.
Yeah. So I mean, I'd show up at the last stop at 11 o'clock at night.
So did you need the money that bad,
Um,
or did you just love the work?
I think back in those days, it was a fear of being self-employed.
Now you were always worried about losing a customer, right?
Yeah.
Like,
I mean,
if you got fired.
Yeah. And to this day, 34 years later, I mean, it's amazing how it doesn't happen very often, but like a 2-horse trim stop will say, you know what, and for about 15 minutes, I'm devastated. I'm like, what did I do? You know, but then like I said, but back then it probably affected me
More so.
Yeah, more so.
I wonder why.
I don't know necessarily being a failure. I think that's a little harsh.
Yeah, no.
I mean, we base our entire existence, our absolute everything, on someone else's hobby. And
True.
you know, for the most part, I mean, of course, there's trainers and stuff that's how they make their living too. But for the most part, like where I was shoeing trail horses and weekend show horses,
barrel horses,
and yeah, so.
And did you get more busy during COVID?
Oh yeah, boomed.
It really went crazy, didn't it?
Yeah. I have a girl that helps me now. She helps me 3 days a week, and she fell into that whole COVID lockdown thing. And she texts me and she says, "Hey, what are we going to do? The COVID lockdown starts." I said, "That don't pertain to us."
Right.
I said, "We're essential."
Right.
That's the word I use. We're essential. And she didn't show up that day when they locked us down.
So she was worried.
Yep, she didn't show up, and then and then it was about a year later, after all that, she called me and she said, "I'm so sorry that I did that to you," and Michaela is her name. She's amazing. I mean,
Did you still have her going with you?
Oh yep, 3 days a week.
Oh, so she's back.
Mm-hmm. Yep, she could. When she apologized, because I'm like. Of course, I've had so many people work for me now that
You have had a pile
I
of it too.
have. And if they don't, if they, call me and say, "Hey, sorry, I can't make it," I just don't.
They're done.
They're done.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm not gonna. I do too many, and I rely on them too much.
We're driving around these big vans, and we got students from all over the world in our vans, and none of us wearing masks. I didn't wear a mask until probably about August or maybe September. And I didn't wear a mask once until I flew to Arkansas, and they made me buy a mask for $1 at the restaurant that we flew into to walk from the desk to my table, and then I could take my mask off.
Right.
I had to pay for the dang thing. I was really irritated. But anyway, I was waiting for someone to call because I'm driving around doing horses. And so a guy called from the health department, and he said, "Hey, this is so-and-so from Barton County Health Department." And I just had some reports about you driving around with all these people without masks. I said, you dare to call me? We are essential, and we have got to take care of these horses? You mean animal welfare doesn't mean, oh, no, sir, I am so sorry.
That's awesome.
I was waiting. I had been practicing. I was
Rehearsing for that call.
yeah.
Yeah.
I knew that call was coming. So I just backed him up with bluster, and then I never heard again.
I had one barn owner that's, when I showed up, she's like, where's your mask? I said, I'm not wearing a mask. And she's like, yes, you are. You're going to wear a mask. And of course, I had help in the truck, and had 4 women standing there. They were all wanting to go. And of course, I always wear a bandana, always. So I told her, I said, okay, I'll tell you what, I'll put this bandana over my face. And she goes, well, that's fine. That'll work. And we shod 3 all the way around and trimmed 3. And
you left it up.
And left my bandana up and couldn't breathe.
Yeah.
Could not breathe. And when I sat down, and I said, here's the deal. This is the day I'm going to be back. I said, if I have to wear a mask on this day, then you need to call and tell me, because I'm not going to come back. And I'm not coming back until I don't have to wear one. And it was funny, when I showed up, all the ladies were standing there in masks, but the barn owner never showed up.
Good.
And I think that was way her,
she was able
saving
to,
face,
right.
But
she didn't have to fire you. She didn't have to blow it up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and I just put
when you're shooting horses, like how close are you?
But all of that during COVID was that way. Everything 6 feet, mask.
People driving alone in their vehicle with a mask, or walking in a field with a mask on.
Yeah, well, you heard why them people wear a mask in a car by themselves driving around. It keeps them from licking the windows.
Okay. Well, there's your joke.
There you go.
Well, I don't want to reflect on that time, but it certainly was a telling time in our country.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, how easily people rolled over.
I've always loved my country, but I've never trusted my government, and so much less now.
Way less now.
Way less now.
Yeah.
And the media, I grew up in the world. We didn't have a television growing up, but my mom and dad read about it in the paper, or my granny and granddad had a television, so they would watch Cronkite or Dan Rather, or one of those guys.
Yeah.
And those guys.
Let you make your own decision.
Well,
tell you the story, and you make your own decision.
But we all thought they were telling the truth too. It didn't seem like it was a lie. But I think the media now, they're telling fiction 99% of it.
And it's amazing how many people that sit there and let them spoon feed it to them.
And love it.
Yeah.
So a podcast, like somebody like Joe Rogan or some of those, they really have allowed some light to shine in the corners.
Absolutely. And they hate it. And
of course.
The establishment media hate all the...
Well, you surely would like the sheep to stay in the pen, right?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. So, because you and I see the world very similarly, just in our conversations. Well, we've been friends forever. And so, it's kind of interesting because I get exposed with these students to people that see the world very differently. And I don't know, it's an interesting time. Customers.
I don't know whether he came to school here, but a kid that was working for me, and he was raised in Ames, Iowa by his single mom. And she was so he lived in a college town, and she was what we call a bleeding heart. She just thought we should take care of everybody just because it's the right thing to do. Very, very sweet, nice woman, but very, very liberal. And then of course his sister was a flaming communist. And so I would have, I kind of like Ben Shapiro, so I would have in between stops, but he had never, ever been seen.
Never heard that.
Never heard the other side, never. I mean, from where he grew up to his household, and of course his whole family was kind of liberal, and then he would kind of debate me, it was fun and cordial, and we could laugh and carry on, because I love the debate. Like all my customers that are left, I don't hold nothing back. They know exactly, and so many of them, we can have so much fun, and we can, and sometimes voices will get risen out of passion,
Sure.
but never angry, you know, and just have the best conversation and be 100% disagreement on policy, but then still leave and schedule another appointment and visit. But I don't.
How about that boy? Did you convert him?
Yo, did I ever? Because he was busting his hump, you know, sweat running down his face, working hard. He started making some money, and then he started seeing, you know, all of the stuff that was not necessarily helping him as far as tax advantages and whatnot. And he's like, wait a second. And it was funny. He got in the truck one day and he's like, dude, he says, you'll never believe. He says, but when I showed up at home, my aunt was there and a bunch of my family, and they were all sitting on the couch and they were going to have an intervention because the guy I was working for had converted him to the dark side. He said it was surreal. All my family sitting around about.
Well done, Robert.
Yeah.
Well done. So, you know, the opposite happens time and time again to good conservative kids that go to college. And so
Well, I got a story about my little.
Tell us.
My niece was my brother was a foreign missionary, very, very, very Christian man, and he went to Hong Kong to smuggle Bibles into Hong Kong, and met a Chinese girl, Esther. They're still married today, and had 2 children.
Is Esther a common Chinese name?
I don't know, to tell you the truth. I've never heard of a girl named Esther, and especially being a Chinese woman.
All right.
But he came back to the States and brought her with him, and they were married and had 2 kids, and was raised in a very, very deep Christian faith, very conservative, you know, but not over. I mean, and then
What did he do for a living here? Was he still a missionary or a preacher? Or?
nope. He did sales and whatnot.
So a regular job.
Yeah, regular job. Yeah, and then my little niece, she went off to college in 1 semester. A lifelong was all where she's a Democrat now.
Yep.
And, you know, pro-choice, you know.
Yep.
And I'm just sitting back going, wow.
Yeah, no, it happened to my, we have some stories in our family too, and it's so hard to see their side. And no matter how generous I want to be with an opinion, why would you not want voters to show their IDs? There's really only one reason, right? for voter fraud.
yeah.
There's only one reason. It
Only
doesn't
one
matter
reason.
how charitable you are with your thoughts.
Right.
And they're standing up for stuff like that. You know, it's an interesting thing. So I'm glad, even though it's one at a time, that you're bringing them to the other side.
Yeah. Yeah, it's
An interesting world.
very much so.
Cody Gregory tools, and here's just one of them. This is the driving hammer, and if you guys use this thing, it feels like it weighs 2 pounds. You'll look at the nail and you'll say, I don't know how that thing just sunk through that foot like that. Anyway, everything that this young man makes is the highest quality. I don't know if it's geometry, I don't know if it's physics, I don't know if it is heat treating, I don't know. But his tools are among the best in the world, so if you want to be one of the best in the world, check out Cody Gregory LLC and get started by having some great tools. So what kind of horses do you shoe the most? Do you have a
Oh my
particular
gosh.
discipline?
No. Oh, I don't do any long-footed stuff. That's the only thing I don't do. And I don't do barrel horses. I
You don't do barrel
don't
horses?
do barrel horses.
So
No.
why is that?
I don't have any problem with the horses, and you know, so I just don't do barrel horses.
Do you have a story?
Yeah, you know, I mean, I had a gal that I was shoeing for, and I ended up shoeing her because I had a girl that she run barrels, and I've known her since she was a little girl, and she moved her horse out to this place, and I started shoeing the lady's horse that owned the property, and I took a second off of her time.
Wow.
A second.
In barrel racing,
Oh,
that's
yeah.
20th to first.
Yeah, and I put some handmade concaves on the front, and she was winning everything.
What do you put behind on that horse?
I put a St. Croix plain,
Okay.
you know, just a
That's
plain.
a good setup for a barrel horse you
Yep.
don't know.
And I love the concave on the front end to where when them horses get up on their toes, they've got a leading edge to dig with. You put an eventer or a rim shoe,
You've lost it.
you've lost it.
Yep.
And she was tickled to death till she went to a barrel race, and someone noticed that those shoes were 3/8 thick, and convinced her those shoes were too heavy.
Wow.
Even though she would just beat this other girl. And I showed up there and she goes, "Oh, we got to take those shoes off." And I'm like, "Why?" "Well, they're too thick. They're too heavy." And I thought to myself, what am I doing? What am I doing? And then it just got to where it just seems like the next fad, the razors and
Did you ever nail those on?
no, never did nail a
No,
razor
me
on.
neither. Are they still around?
I mean,
I hadn't even heard or
Yeah,
anything about
I
them forever.
and I gotta, and it's amazing how, like I made some concave shoes, put them on the truck, and I was gonna put them on the front of this barrel horse, and they were just a smidgen short. So I took my cross peen and put a couple divots in them and stretched them out.
Now they look like sidewinders.
Yeah, yeah. And the lady, she's like, "What are those divots?" I'm like, "That's when you come into that barrel." She just thought that was the greatest thing ever, man. I mean, she thought that was awesome. And I didn't have the heart to tell her. I said, because the shoe was too short, and I had to stretch it out.
I had to find it
But I
out.
had to cover the foot, you know?
Yeah, concave doesn't stretch.
Yeah.
Or not much.
Yeah, so just had to push them out a little bit. But no, I don't see any barrel horses. I have to take that back. I have 2 accounts, and the girls are amazing. And, you know, they're loyal
Right.
and
Don't tell you how to do it.
don't tell me how to do it. And they're tickled to death. But
So are you doing more roping horses or you do more trail horses? Hunter jumper?
lots of dressage horses.
Dressage horses. So how do you set those up? What's your shoeing package on those?
Tell you the truth, it's no different than, I mean, they're all bigger, you know, and majority of them are all clipped, you know, to where like a lot of my trail horses and rope horses and whatnot, I don't clip them. So most all my dressage horses are all clipped.
Okay.
And
And are you hot shoeing
yeah, everything has got a clip, a rocker toe, anything
on the dressage?
on the dressage. Yeah,
Okay. Do you hot shoe your trail horses?
No, not usually. No,
Not usually,
we do
okay.
so many of them, and I love to burn feet. I do, and I can honestly say, this farm, I just bought a farm, so when my girls move out, my goal is I'm going to sell this farm, and then
You're selling the place you live now?
yep, I'm going to
Oh.
sell it. I mean, it's
I thought this was your forever place.
no, because it's giant. I mean, it's 5,000 square foot house. I mean,
That's a lot of house.
Yeah, and I did get engaged, and I told her, I said, "Will you marry me someday?" She's amazing. And
You said someday.
yep, someday. That's what I told her.
Whoa, you were a romantic.
I am. Yeah, but her youngest boy still got 5 years of school.
Oh, wow. All
You know,
right.
so and it's super important for her for him to stay in the school district that he's at.
Yeah, of course.
So he at least 5 years.
Yeah.
But when my girls move out, I've got this giant home, and this farm is going to be able to make it to where I don't ever plan on retiring, but I can slow down. I can go shoot 2 horses in a day and go home, and I'm going to put up a little outdoor pen, you know, and I'm going to ride colts and play
Road.
around with these mares, and I'm going to be able to pay cash for everything. I won't have any debt, and then I can.
So
I can
you got
go-
a really nice exit plan.
I mean, that's what this farm is what's going to be my
How many acres do you have?
82 acres.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's 82 acres. But it got a big giant house, way more. I mean, it's 5 bedroom, 3 bath. I mean, and even when I do get hitched, it's going to be me and her.
Right.
You know, so it's got a 60 by 200 foot indoor. It's got an 8 stall
Wow.
barn. It's got a 50 by 60 heated insulated shop.
Wow.
I mean, it's
Nice.
like, it's amazing. I mean, my place is absolutely amazing. But I mean, I'd rather have a little shop and a little house that's paid for. All my vehicles are paid for, and then I can go shoe horses. And then I want to put handmaids on everything and burn every foot.
Yep.
You know, I mean, and make them at the horse.
So just
You know, when you do 2 a day, I mean-
turn shoeing into your hobby.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
That
You know,
sounds like a
keep me
pretty
some mad money and you know, still be able to, because like I said, I mean, we're so lucky to have horseshoeing. And if anybody that does do it, like I'll tell you, when I went to shoeing school, they had done a survey or a study or something, because all the horseshoeing schools were full. I mean, it's a waiting list. I had to wait 6 months before I could get in. And
Where did you go?
I went to Oklahoma State Horseshoeing School when Reggie was...
Reggie Kester.
Yep,
Yeah, Reggie's still alive.
Yep, he was still alive, and Frank Dice and Reggie...
And
Frank,
David Goodall? Was
nope,
David Goodall?
he wasn't there.
Oh, no.
It was Reagan, Reggie, and Frank.
How old was Reagan? He must have been kind of young.
Yeah, he was older than me, probably. I don't tell you the truth, I don't know how old he was.
Yeah, I bet he's probably about 5-8 years older than you.
Yeah.
Somewhere.
Well, they had done a study. They went and contacted these guys that were in shoeing school, and in 5 years contacted them again to see if they were still shoeing.
Like 1 in 6 or something, right? Or...
It was 1% was making a living doing it. 7% were only doing their own.
Wow.
And the rest of them weren't doing it at all. So, I mean, I think that, but the people that have the passion for this job, and I mean, look at us, we all love it.
Yep.
I mean,
well, the secret to that is if you will attract a really high-end student. So this is what I believe to be the secret to our success at the Heartland, is we have attracted the very, very cream of the crop. And so if you have a great individual come as a student, it wouldn't matter if they had gone to carpentry school or mechanic school or become a lawyer.
Okay.
They would have been, they were already, they had that in them. That was in their DNA.
Mm-hmm.
And so our placement rate is huge as far as the guys are still doing it 10 years later.
right.
But if I would have taught them how to, I don't know, garden, they would still be gardeners 10 years later, you know? So that's what,
Yeah,
that's
it
what
just
I think
seems
is
like the people that stick with it, I mean, have a passion for it, you know?
if you don't, this is not a way to make a living.
Right.
Yeah, this would be way too
Because you'll
hard.
never do anything that's harder on you or more physical
Right.
and more demanding than being a farrier.
Mentally demanding as well.
Mentally. Oh my gosh, mentally. I mean, that's a huge step of it. How many times, I can't count how many times I stayed awake at night thinking
Worrying about a horse or a customer.
Yeah.
Yep.
You know, or that nail not being right and pulling that thing and putting it
Yep.
another 1/8 inch higher, or
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know, to
Yeah,
where-
you can second guess your job. No one's done a perfect shoeing job ever.
ever.
And so if you're trying to achieve that.
But how fun is that to try to achieve?
Well, it used to be more fun because now my body used to be closer to being able to do it.
Yeah, well, I got to have a helper. Like if I'm by myself, I got 4 in me and
Right.
I'm toast.
And that's enough.
And
And that used to be, that's where you start at 9. You used to be 12, 14 a day every day, right?
every day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And your door looked like a pharmacy.
It did. It doesn't look like that anymore,
No.
though.
No, because you've changed.
Yeah.
So you're a 72 model?
71.
71.
December 71.
All right, so almost 72.
Yep.
And once you get over 50, you got to change things, don't you? Have you noticed?
Oh my gosh.
For
That's
me-
where because I mean, I went from breakfast burrito at a gas station to Casey's Pizza twice a day, and I would
And
drink.
Tums,
I would
and
drink.
Aleve, and
I would drink 4 to 6 44-ounce Mountain Dews a day,
you're kidding.
every day, every day.
Why would you do that?
I mean, I love soda pop. You know.
Do you still?
No, I haven't had a pop in. I bet I haven't had a Mountain Dew. I bet I haven't had a Mountain Dew in 3 years.
Okay.
You know, but-
Since you're 50.
Yep.
And what about your eyesight? When did it go?
I had LASIK done, which I loved it. Now I'm seriously considered, because they say you can do it again as long as your retina's thick enough. They said they can do it again, but it's bad. You know, we're
Right.
all
No, I know
we're
what you
all. You can see all the guys that are above 50. You know, we all got these.
So mine started going at 47. And that was really like, I felt like 47 years old was my last really good year. And I kind of really quit competing after that. My knees were going really bad at that time. My hands had got to the point where I've lost so much grip strength. And
Yeah, like I've noticed picking up, and in the bronc riding, you got to pull that back cinch, and my hands don't have enough strength to where there's a lot of times. Of course, I ride I will brag on my horses. I've got some really
Really nice
good
pickup horses.
Yep. And I mean, I can pitch it to them and I'll have to use both hands to pull that latigo and pop that back cinch.
If you're a bronc rider, don't listen to this.
Yeah. So, and I tell people if I think they're going to squeeze my hand when I shake it, I'm like, please don't squeeze because and like I was telling you earlier, my back's the best thing on me.
Right.
You know,
Right.
I mean, it gets tired and I cold plunge. Anybody
Yes. Okay. So now this is when we just reconnected here recently. You know, I'll run into you at clinic or whatever. We always can pick up where we left off, but we had a long talk about the cold plunge. So tell us about this.
So I got to watching a guy on Facebook Reels and talk about cold water immersion and what it all will do for you. And I'm like, I'm going to try this. And this guy, he said 48 to 50 degrees. And I had got a great big giant tub in this master bathroom. And I thought, I'm going to my water was 50 degrees out of the spigot. I'm like, okay, that's right. And I got in that thing. And I mean, I thought, there's no way I can do ice. There's no way this is so cold. But it was amazing how I could tie my shoes that very morning. That very day, the first day
And when you got out the first day, you just felt your skin feels different.
Oh,
and
like you're dry. When you dry off, it's like you don't even.
Yeah, and when you rub your arm, your skin just feels different.
And I got hooked on. I got a big dopamine release, and it's kind of like I went elk hunting with the old Jeff Ridley one year, and I thought I'm gonna run before this. I started out a month before this elk hunt. I'm gonna start running, and hated every step I took. Absolutely hated every single step. But when I got back, I had it was the dopamine that you get after doing that. I could see how people got addicted to that.
Right.
Well, I got that same thing as soon as I got out of that water.
Right.
And so then I got to where I did it every day. And this guy that I was following says 3 minutes minimum, 6 minutes maximum. So I'm like, I'm tough. By God, I'm doing 6. I ain't gonna pansy out, and I did, and then I did it every day. Well, then it got to the point where water felt like bath water.
At 50 degrees.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I started adding 40 pounds of ice a day to get it cold enough to where I was actually.
And how cold did it get with 40 pounds of ice?
Well, like by the time it had warmed up, because I started doing it in the wintertime, and my water was 50 degrees. So by the time the temperature outside warmed up, the coldest I could get it out of my tap was 63.
Wow, that's a big difference.
Yeah, so then I put 40 pounds of ice in there, and the coldest I ever got it with 40 pounds was 53.
No kidding.
Yep, and it just felt like bath water.
Yeah.
And so then I got to doing a bunch of research on making my own out of an old chest freezer, and then I just thought, you know what, as much as this benefits me, I'm going to just spend the money, and I'm going to buy one, and I bought one, and I have it set at 45 degrees, and I will not miss it.
Yep.
I will not.
Every day.
Every day. And it's funny, though, I still have to talk myself into it.
Yeah.
I mean, I still have to, it's the disciplinary.
But within 15, 20 seconds, then it feels good.
I mean, you can feel.
So my legs go in, and I'm like, oh, this is good. And then I go, and it comes to here, and I'm breathing deep, and then I sink down to my neck, and I sit there, and I just, within 10 seconds, I'm good.
Chill. And just, I can literally feel myself relax. I mean, it's like a wave, and no, I mean, it is, no kidding, it unbelievable.
So what's your morning ritual then? How do you do this? Do you do it right away when you wake up?
Yep, I wake up, I take like a vitamin C and D and zinc, and I have a little hydrogen water bottle that I take that with.
I do hydrogen water. And you do all this first thing in the morning?
Yep, get up out of bed and take my vitamins and drink my hydrogen water bottle, and I take a chew, and then I put on my shorts.
Take a chew.
Yep, I still chew snuff. I'm no quitter. I mean, I got one vice. I'm trying real hard to be healthy, but I still eat snuff. I do.
Okay, in Copenhagen still?
Nope, I eat the Red Seal wintergreen stuff.
What's that run?
Oh my gosh! If you buy 2 cans at Casey's, you get $1.50 off. So, but it's still almost $10 for 2 cans.
Wow.
Yeah.
I was going to quit Copenhagen when it got to $1 a can.
I was going to do it when it got $1.50.
It was that long ago.
Yeah.
And when I finally quit, I quit in 2001.
Oh my.
And so I've been 23, but I still, like, if someone has some, I just want to get a big smell. And I just know
Cal does that.
Yeah.
Cal see me take a chew and he's like, "Can I smell?" And he go, "Oh man, you know how Cal is." Oh, okay.
I know if I were to take one, I'd be,
It's it.
yeah, I'd be right
Because
back.
I quit, and I quit for almost a year, and I did, and just a weak moment, whatever it was, and a buddy of mine took a chew, and I was headed to the gas station that night and bought a can. And then I got on a kick where I did this for like 5 years. I wouldn't chew until after 9 o'clock at night.
Wow.
I wouldn't.
That's late.
Yep. And during the day, never wanted it, never craved it, never jonesed, never nothing, and until about 7:45. And then you start watching that clock. I mean, it was, and at 9 o'clock,
So what time do you get up in the morning?
I get up about 7.
Okay, so you're not an early riser.
No.
Oh, no. Okay, then you stay up till
5 o'clock in the morning or 6 o'clock still nighttime to me.
Okay, what time do you go to bed?
Oh, that's one thing that I actually say that I'm trying to work on, and I'm not very good at it. Is I've always thought sleep is a big waste of time, and I fight going to sleep. And then once I do go to bed, then turning my head up, my brain off, But then
And do you sleep good?
like a rock.
So you do sleep
Now
good.
I got some of them grounding sheets. I highly recommend them things.
Yep.
They're like you pass away. And first 3 nights I slept on those things. I slept completely through my alarm, and it's my phone on the pillow right next to me.
Where's
And-
Laura sleep?
Well, she sleeps at her house.
Oh, okay. All right. All right. Well, that's good.
Yeah, so she'll come stay with me a couple nights a week, and then I'll go to her place and stay a couple nights a week. So
But
there's
you
like
also-
Tuesdays and Sundays we're not together.
Okay.
So then I go to her place on Mondays and Wednesdays, and she comes to my place on Thursday, Friday, Saturday. And if she has the boys, then she'll, like this weekend, she's got the boys. And then me and my girls, every Friday night we go eat Mexican joint. We got a little hub right
Oh,
there.
but
right
you're
there.
missing it tonight for this,
Yeah, we're going to
aren't
miss
you?
it tonight, but that's okay.
Thanks, girls. I appreciate you letting me have them.
Yeah. There's a little Mexican joint right there at the corner of 131 and 50 Highway. It's the coolest little community hub that everybody comes to either Friday or Saturday night, and the guy that owns the place is just a phenomenal guy. And
Nice.
provides a really great service, just strictly mainly for that community right there where we live. And we
So you really have a good ritual with that.
yeah,
Yeah.
and get to hang out with my girls, and
Well, getting back to your morning routine. So you get up 7-ish, have your vitamins, hydrant water.
yep, and I go get my cold plunge.
Cold-
Put my
your
little
stuff.
put my little boat shoes on and my shorts and grab my towel, and I used to have it out under my carport, and I'm going to move it back out there come summertime. But now it's in my garage.
Okay.
So in the wintertime, because
And then you take a shower after?
I
After
take a
your
shower.
cold plunge?
Nope, I don't take a shower afterwards. But I'll take a shower that night when I get home, and I don't put on any deodorant or anything. And then when I get up, I go get my cold plunge,
And then get dressed and go.
and then get dressed and go.
So I do the cold plunge in the mornings, but I get up around 4, and I get a whole bunch of work done in the morning, and then I have my workout.
It's still
and my
dark
breakfast.
outside. What do you do at 4 o'clock in the morning?
Oh, dude, when you run a horseshoeing school, there is so much stuff on the side that nobody even.
You're probably right.
I've got to answer emails every day. I've got to take care of paperwork. I got to take care of immigration. It just there's a whole side to this that isn't nearly as pretty as I make it look.
Yeah,
You know, it's
you need to have a little documentary on that. Have Kelly follow you around the camera while you.
She could. So I read my Bible every morning. I have my rituals, and I work out. And when I'm done, then I'll eat breakfast with Kelly, and then I'll do my cold plunge then, and then I take a cold shower. So I'm like 3 to 4 minutes in 38-degree water, 39-degree water,
Oh wow, yeah. I can set mine to that, but I never have set it to that.
and then I take a cold shower after that for another probably 2 to 4 minutes. Just basically. Just to wash after the cold plunge. And so there's some mornings where I've got this deep shiver going on, and I'm just.
See, now I figured out to where I do 3 minutes now, so I still get all the benefits of of everything of doing 6 minutes, but it seems like at 6 minutes, about 20 minutes after I'm out, I'm cold and
Right.
I'm shivering. My teeth are chattering. You know, I look like,
Yeah.
you know, but if I do 3 minutes, I can still tie my shoes in the morning.
Oh, yeah.
I still don't have I don't have headaches. I don't have chronic back pain. And I had my back hurt all the time. Now, it didn't cripple me. It didn't keep me from doing my job,
But it hurt.
but it hurt all the time.
Hey, went away with this.
I have none.
Do you suffer headaches? Mm-hmm. And have you ever got into the cold plunge with a headache
Yeah.
and come out without?
No, it
Makes it
seemed
worse.
like it made it worse. Yeah.
I've had about probably 4 or 5 times, and I don't get cluster headaches from migraines. I'm not talking about.
Yeah, and I get migraines. That's what.
Okay, well,
But I mean,
so maybe I don't know what I'm talking about here. My headaches will be, if there was a scale, it would be at 3. You know.
oh, yeah.
And I could work through it. It wouldn't even.
But see, I don't get them near like what I do.
Yeah, what you used to.
Yeah, like what I used to. Yeah.
And what about pain relievers? Do you ever take any?
I
You used to.
I used to a bunch.
Yeah.
I mean, I would eat anywhere from, I mean, realistically, because I take them at 5 at a time.
I know. I remember.
And I'd eat anywhere from 5 to 25 a week.
What was your flavor? Was it Tylenol?
Ibuprofen.
Ibuprofen. All right.
Or the generic.
Right.
Yep.
Well, you're gonna eat that many, but
Yeah. Yeah. Where I don't take them anything for pain as far as like, except for like if I think I'm going to get a headache, then I will eat some.
just to get ahead of it.
Yeah. Just try to get a headache.
Have you tried marijuana?
No.
No.
Never
Yeah,
tried.
If I got migraines, I'd try it. But you know, with the pilot license, I've never tried it. I've never tried it. But I was thinking with the pilot license, I don't know what the rules on it is. Whether or
Do
not
they drug test you or something?
well, you get your physical every 2 years, you know.
Oh,
but
okay.
if something were to happen, let's say you run out the end of a runway or something, and then they because marijuana stayed in your system for a while or something, and so I guess I don't know what the legality of it is, but if I were to get migraines, I think I'd try it.
Yeah, I've not tried it but I don't even drink anymore. I don't use
Zero.
zero.
When was the last time you had a drink?
Gosh, I think the last time I had a drink is when we went to eat Mexican and Emma ordered a big old giant fishbowl margarita. And of course, she had met us there. So I'm like, Emma Jean, I said, you can't, you know, she's like 110 pounds soaking wet. You know, she's 5'1", and in here this big old fishbowl thing is. So I said, hey, let me try that. You know, and then I sucked down more than half of it. You know,
That's pretty tasty, yeah.
yeah, and I'm like, she's like, hey, whoa. I'm like, well, and I think that's the last time. But I don't drink beer. I don't.
So you really have turned over a new leaf, huh?
Yeah, I take my lunch every day.
What do you have for lunch?
I eat mostly whole. Anything that's, you know, I eat like apples, bananas, oranges, pears, blueberries, strawberries. I'll pack sardines. We eat avocados. We eat lots of avocados. I usually.
Yeah, you know, I wish the maker of avocados would change that deal. I've got like 40 wooden balls. Can't they put something else in there?
Right.
Maybe a toy motorcycle or something?
Yeah, I watched something on TikTok that you can do with those things, and it was pretty cool, but I can't remember what it was. I think you have to Google it. They grind them up and do something with those.
Well, really?
Yeah. And then I'll usually raid what the girls cook for supper.
So you're just a vegetarian lunch then?
No, I definitely, like, I'll eat, the girls will make something for supper and put it in a container and I'll steal it.
Okay, so you'll have leftover steak or something.
Yeah.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
And do you stop at lunch, 12 o'clock, eat every day, boom?
No.
No, you just eat what you can?
Just when I get hungry.
Yep.
And I want to dabble in the intermediate fasting, but I figured out that I have to eat something in the morning. And then as long as I eat something in the morning, but I kind of like that intermediate fasting where, you know, it seems like, you know, a guy told me, he said, if your body is always metabolizing food, it can't fight off anything that's necessarily going on that's bad for you.
Yep.
So you not eating at some point during the day is actually good for your body to rebuild or to fight off whatever, you know.
So we've gotten into biohacking a little bit. Have you done any DNA tests or any of that stuff yet?
No, I want to. The guy that I've been following, I'd love to do a cheek swab thing.
Is this 10X?
Yeah.
Yeah, so Gary Brecka? Mm-hmm. Yes. Yeah, so we did that, and it told us what the whatever mutations we had so that we could methylate vitamins better and make up for whatever we're missing DNA-wise. So that way we're just not supplementing because they say B12 is good. Well, it might be good, but it might not be good for you, right?
Right.
So anyway, so we did that, but now I am actually wearing a glucose monitor. And so I'm not diabetic or anything. I just wanted to see the blood glucose.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, it's amazing. So
you can watch it like if after you eat an apple or something, you can
right,
watch
you can
your
see where my
insulin
spike is. So there's a green window between 70 and 140, and you try to stay in this green window. And so Kelly's wearing one too, and the next day we're like, well, I was 97% and you're only 92% in, But if I eat like a pasta or a bread, it will spike my blood glucose numbers to like 160, and I'll stay out there for like 2 hours. So if I eat a handful of nuts and a couple of dried figs, I'll go up to, let's say, 141 for 20 minutes. And so my blood glucose is actually wonderful. It's averaging below 100. It's really, really good.
You just stick it on your arm?
Yeah, it's got
little electrodes or something?
It's got a needle. You've probably seen them on people where they had a little thing on their arm.
Okay, yeah. I didn't know what they were.
Yeah, that's a blood glucose monitor. And so this is the third one I've worn. And so I'm
Is it on an app on your phone?
it's an app on my phone.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I'll show you when we're done since we're recording with that phone. But it gave me a lot of information. And what I have found, one of the most important things for my health is portion control. Because it would be nothing for me. Like I like dried fruit, like dates or raisins or dried figs. And you can eat 3 handfuls of raisins before you know it, right?
Oh yeah, easy.
But that's an awful lot of grapes. That was actually grapes. That would be.
I guess I never thought about that.
Yeah,
you're right.
But so that's so much sugar and stuff, and that would spike me. And then the next day, Kelly would be beating me in the green window. But it's a pretty cool thing to do. It's not that expensive.
You just go to CVS and buy one?
No, this is a Stello brand, and there's several brands, and you just go online to their website, and it's really, they say if you're diabetic, this is not for you. This is for people that are trying to figure out. But it's just,
yeah, because I always wondered what, I just try to eat. I'm not eating anything out of a box.
Right. But
So-
you probably don't realize how your body is reacting to certain things. And you might find out that if you eat lasagna, it really spikes your blood glucose. And whereas if you were to eat pizza, it's not that bad, whatever. So it's kind of a cool side trip. And
Yeah. Yeah, I kind of got to follow that Gary Brecka guy some. He's got one that got me cold plunging and the grounding
the hydrogen water.
and the hydrogen water. I wish I could do the breathing. I just can't get into I struggle.
Yeah. I haven't, I didn't chase down his breathing thing.
He calls it breath work,
Okay, but didn't he have a name for it? Like it's
It's Win-Off's, that the Iceman guy, that's his style of breathing is what
Okay.
Gary Brecka follows is, and it's just real super exaggerated, super deep breaths and try to you do 3 rounds of 30, hold your breath in between each round. When I was doing
Takes
it,
some time.
when I was doing it, I got to where I could hold my breath for over 3 minutes.
No kidding.
Yeah, just from, I don't know. It was kind of like running.
I do take very deep breaths while I'm in the tub. Well, I'm in the ice bath. Yeah. Especially the start, right? But I was doing it in the pool because it was getting winter time. We hadn't closed the pool yet. And Kelly had been doing it a little bit. And she said, why don't you just jump in the pool? And I did. And so I went all the way under. And I just about drowned.
Yeah, well, my cold plunge is you climb up on top of it and then you step on the seat and then you lower so it's like a chair basically.
Okay.
So it's the tub's about out to here and then you lean up against the back of it. So it's an L shape, and I'll use a little pool net if
If there's any,
if there's like when it was outside, a leaf would go in there or something. And I got thinking, if I fell down in that thing, my feet would be sticking out, and I wouldn't be able to reach the. They just find me dead that way, you know. So I'm cautious about getting in it.
oh yeah,
But I think that the cold plunge is a lot of it is the discipline
Right.
in your life.
and then when you're done,
You feel so.
you conquered something.
Yes, absolutely.
And
This
you
is
feel good.
like making my bed. I make my bed every single morning, and I don't have any kind of military, but you know, by golly, accomplish something. You know, right off the bat, clean your room.
Yep.
You know, get your own life in order. You
Yeah,
know,
absolutely.
don't quit worrying about. So many people would worry about themselves, and have less distraction of whatever else somebody's doing. Make your bed.
Yep.
You know, and so I make my bed every morning, and that getting in that cold water, you know, regardless of the benefits that I think it helps my mind as far as like, I am going to do this, and you can subconsciously, you're trying to talk yourself out of
Oh
it.
yeah, yeah.
I mean, you have a conversation, and another thing that I've tried to do is the story you tell yourself in your own thoughts matter.
Oh yeah.
I mean, and I'm kind of new to that concept of, you know, I was listening, I think it was Travis Haley's podcast, and had a guy on there and talking about the story you tell yourself and the conversations you have in your own mind all the time while you're by yourself, or if you're with somebody else. You know, it matters what you think.
Sure.
And
You're going to project that
yes,
subconsciously.
yeah,
And people are going to pick up on it. If you're fake, you know the people that are.
absolutely.
They seem really friendly, right? But you have the feeling that they're not. you
Right.
know.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's something off about that person.
Yeah, so I think the discipline thing of the cold plunge has been as crucial as but I tell people, you know, getting my shoes tied in the morning was the hardest thing I did. And we'd shoe 12 all the way around, 3 on the front and trim 8. And 2 of us. But tying my shoes that morning was way harder than that. But now I can sit down, I can tie my shoes, and it seems so, but when you sit there in that chair and you look down at your feet, you're like, man, I wish I could get there. I just wish I could get to those laces. You know, and you sit there in dread. And and somebody say, well, get some slip-on shoes, man. I'm like,
Velcro. They make Velcro.
yeah, it's like, no, I'm not there yet. You know, Laura, before I started cold plunging, she'd see me sitting there just stewing about tying my shoes. And she's like, let me just do that for you? I said, not today. I'm not going to say there's not a day that you won't, but it ain't today. Yeah.
We could practice a sponge bath, but
Yeah.
well, very cool. So, are you a religious man?
I don't consider myself religious. I have tremendous belief, and I think there's
So you believe in Christ?
absolutely.
So you're saved?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
You don't go to church though. You read your Bible?
I do, not near as much as I should. You know, as far as like I don't use the word religious. You know, I'm a believer and I have faith. I talk to God every single day.
And you're Christian.
And a Christian, yes.
Okay, all right.
Because
even
I believe in Jesus Christ.
Muslims are believers, you know.
Yes.
Yeah, so, okay, all right.
Yeah. But as far as like a church home, no. I actually live right next door to a church. Right next door. There's a little community church. And I thought about going, you know. But I was forced to go to church when I was a child.
So you were raised in it?
I was raised in it, yes. And I mean, the thing I remember about the church that I went to, it was a sad place because I was a little kid, you know, and people would go up there and cry. And I don't think that I was, I could tell the difference between necessarily happy tears and sad tears. So I just automatically looked at it as, but it was funny, Justin Fry, he went to school here.
No.
The one from Wisconsin, Justin Fry.
Oh, yes. Okay, yes.
Yeah.
Right. There's C. Justin Price.
Yeah.
Man,
Well,
I hadn't thought of him in a while.
yeah, we've become great friends. When
Yeah, good kid.
Oh man, he moved. He went to that Bible college in
Right.
Grandview, and he called you, and you'd hooked him up with me. and we've become great friends since
Nice.
then. But the conversations that we had going down the road between stops was unbelievable. How much of that Sunday school in my old church that I retained.
So you still had those stories, huh?
Still had, and we could sit there and visit, because of course he would come with me any day he wasn't in class.
Right.
And then, of course I'd pay him and give him money, for
helping.
And then, but it was amazing.
What's he doing now? Is he preaching now?
He was preaching. Yeah, actually, he shoes horses maybe 1 or 2 days a week, but now he owns an outfitter business.
But he's still shoeing.
Yep, still shoes.
That's
But
outstanding.
he's got like, what do you say, 60 or 80 head of horses of his own.
Oh.
So he's.
It's a good thing to know how to shoot.
Yeah,
If you're gonna have that many.
I just built him a pair of spurs. He's got backcountry outfitters. And I've got a line of horses that I just fell in love with, and I was telling him about it, and he bought some young horses out of that same particular line that I've been buying. And yeah, he was a pastor of a pretty large congregation, but I don't know whether he's still. I think he's still but I don't think he's like the head pastor.
So have you been making spurs for the money? Like
No.
you don't sell them for people?
I have sold them. Like when I got to put them on Facebook, I've given away way more pairs than I've built or sold.
You almost can't get paid enough to make them, really.
Yeah, you don't. But I put a couple pairs on Facebook, and then it was like within a week I had like 9 orders, and then it was no fun anymore.
Took the fun out. Yeah.
Yeah, it was no fun anymore. So and of course I've got off Facebook. I still have my account, but I deleted the app off my phone. So
Oh, really?
Yeah. So I don't look at it anymore.
I wish I could do that, but I think with the school, for the
Right.
school, we have turnover because the guy I teach this year won't be here next year. But if you're just a horseshoer, the turnover is way smaller. You have your clientele. You don't have to worry about building a business.
Right.
Where with horseshoeing school, you are building your business every year.
Every year.
Yeah.
Yeah, Facebook just put me in a bad place. Just
Really?
Yeah, just get, especially during the election and all that, and I just like.
You watch mainstream media?
No, we don't have a television in the house.
Yeah.
There's no TV. I look at my phone, and I did get on X or Twitter for a little bit, but I don't know anybody on
Right.
there. So there was no emotional, with social media. But I don't get on it near. And it was amazing how much you'd sit there and get on that book face. It's just unbelievable the waste of time.
Oh, yeah.
And next thing you know, you sit down in your chair and 3 hours later, you're still
wow.
sitting there.
Jeez.
Yeah. and just doing this. And I'm like, this is ridiculous.
Yeah.
There's so many more things to accomplish in life besides looking at the screen of that phone.
Yeah. Or television.
Or what?
Or television.
Yeah, or television.
Yeah.
Yeah. And when I got divorced, I rented the farm that I'm at now, and I bought a big fifth wheel camper. And there's so many buildings on there that I just pulled this fifth wheel camper into this building, and there was no television.
Oh, because it was all blocked.
Yeah,
Yep.
it was all, and I noticed, like a month after living in that camper, I didn't have a TV, and I'm like, I didn't even miss it.
Yep.
Didn't even miss it. And there, when I was at my old place, we had like 130 channels, and there was nothing on.
Yep.
So what are we doing? So
I grew up without a television, and when Kelly's not around or if I travel, I never watch TV. I just don't, and I'm quite happy with a book.
I wish I could read more, but I fall asleep.
Oh yeah, put you to sleep.
It just puts me to sleep. Even especially studying for my journeyman. I'd sit there. I'm not even gonna I'd sit upright on the couch, wouldn't kick my feet up, never nothing. And I'm like, I'm studying for this test. I'm gonna pass it this time. And it'd be 15 minutes later, I'd be waking up at 3 o'clock in the morning.
So I remember your journey to the journeyman. That was I got to be a big part of that and get to see a lot of that.
Yep.
But I remember Dusty coming out. You remember that?
Oh yeah, because I had everything passed but my written.
You would tell that story?
Yeah. So I was traveling with, the cool thing about this business is the guys that you become family with, especially when you're competing or getting your certification. Any horseshoer, any farrier that gets out of, they should absolutely, regardless of the 3 letters behind your name, the experience and the people that you will meet will be with you the rest of your entire life over trying to get that certification.
Yes.
And me and Dusty he's been a super friend of mine. I mean, had a huge impact on my life. And he was a tester. And all my buddies was all going for our journeyman, like Matt Farlow and, Kyle Ballard, Danny Regan, we were.
Hey, Danny Regan, he's still around?
He lives in Houston now. I talked to him. I try to, he always told me, he says, if I don't hear from somebody, I think it's once every 6 months, he deletes them off their phone. So I at least call him once every 6 months.
So is he still shooting?
Nope. Not shooting anymore. He was selling containers for one of those that lives in Houston.
Did he end up with a good life?
Oh yeah.
Oh,
yeah,
good.
He's doing good. He likes to cook. Goes to those competitions and he still has his coleslaw and he still has his hand tools.
Okay.
So, and like I told him, that's also the cool thing about horseshoeing is no one can take it from you. No one can take it from you, whether you make a career out of it or not. You're going to eat that day because there's always a horse to trim.
Yeah.
You're going to eat that day.
Yeah. Horseshoers, they don't have to suffer for something to eat or a place to go or
Yeah.
All right. So anyway, you got this family and Dusty Franklin's part of it.
Yeah. Okay. So I had passed my horse and I'd passed my bar shoe.
Did you pass him in the Heartland?
I passed my horse at Fort Scott, and I think I passed my bar shoe here.
I thought so too.
Yeah. And then, so everybody had to pack all their tools and everything. I had to bring a pencil. I didn't have to take anything.
Natty movie.
Yeah, okay, guys, I'm ready to go. And like I said, I tried to study for that test. I did. And Dusty was walking out after grading, the examiner graded, and he's looked right at me and he stuck his hand out and says, "Congratulations." And I said, "I passed?" He goes, "No."
Oh, I thought you were going to hit him.
Yeah, I'm like, who needs enemies when you got buddies like Dusty? Dusty was at doing a clinic, and he said there was like 60 people, and one of the barrel horses that I do, that one of the 2 accounts that I do, he was shoeing the horse in Oklahoma, and then this lady bought it and moved up around Kansas, over by Kansas City, and Dusty's like, "You need to get Robert to shoe this horse. Don't tell him it's a barrel horse, but tell him I said that you need to come look at this horse." Well, she calls me and I'm like, and I try to, so I went up and shod the horse and she told me it was a barrel horse.
But you didn't know till after you got there.
I didn't know until after I got there. So I got in the truck and I called Dusty, and of course it went to voicemail, and I left him this message: "You buck." And I went on.
Was the horse a snake?
Huh?
Was the horse a snake?
No, he's a good horse,
Okay,
but he
all right.
was big and heavy and run forward, behind, and just. So I guess Dusty was doing a demo. Said there was like 60 people out in front of me, and he looks over his phone and he sees that's me calling, and he lets it go to voicemail, and then after,
So he could play it to everybody?
so he took it, and he goes, "This is a good buddy of mine from Kansas City." He says, "Let's hear what he has to say on my voicemail," and he puts his mic up there, and of course I'm, and everybody, he said, "Rob, you had everybody rolling in that crowd of the message you left me." I'm like, "Yeah."
Yeah. Good to have friends like that.
Oh man.
Do you remember Steve Hayes?
Oh man.
That was a heck of a deal, huh?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're the one that called and told me.
Oh, so I knew before you.
Mm-hmm. Yep,
Oh.
because I was going to, I think it was Equifest, and I was doing a demo. I forget what I was building.
Is that the one in Columbia? Or,
Yeah, it was. I'm trying to think. It was also on Kansas side. I don't remember where it was. It's not near as huge as it is today. And I tried to get Steve to come with me because I was scared to death.
Oh, really? Was it early on?
Yeah, early on.
So
And
what year was that?
Oh gosh, I don't even know, to tell you the truth. But Steve was working for me on Mondays.
That had to be like 15 years ago, huh? Maybe 2010?
Oh, it's been
More than that?
more than that. Yeah.
All right, so those of you that don't know, Steve Hayes was a farrier from Great Bend, Kansas, moved to the
Independent. He was living in Independence,
Missouri.
Missouri.
And
Yeah, he was my hero, man.
he was such a good farrier.
Oh man,
I mean, everything he did on a foot was like magic.
magic.
And his shoes, he wasn't fast, but they were
Everything was deliberate and had
perfect.
a purpose,
Yep.
purposeful.
Yeah.
Yeah, when I was studying, when I was going to take my journeyman, I hauled 4 pickup horses over to Dusty's shop, and when he lived in Eastland,
right.
and I had a big sawhorse, and that's when 5/16 by 7/8 was really cool. Everybody, put on bigger feet, and when before everybody that tells all my age too. And it was talking about 5/16, and so they let me do a run, and they scored me. Of course, I didn't know what I was doing. I failed horribly, and then so.
But this is just a practice run.
Practice run.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Dusty did the front feet, and he did a foot, and I did a foot, and then Steve did a hind foot, and then I did a hind foot. And I'll never forget this in a million years. Steve went up there, trimmed his foot, found his foot, dressed it, measured his foot, walked over, cut the steel, put it in the fire, made his plane stamp. It was out of 5/16 by 7/8. Made his plane stamp pine, quarter clipped it, looked at it, measured it from off his foot, walked over and smoked him. And then and Dusty was sitting there right beside me, and then flipped the shoe over, and it was dimes width, dimes length, no sole pressure. I mean, the burn was just
It was a textbook.
unbelievable.
Yep.
I mean, realist. I've never seen anybody ever do that ever again. And then, of course, I'd brag on Steve, and he's a real humble guy anyway. And he's, oh, it wasn't, it was. I'm like, no, dude, it was.
It was there.
Yeah. And I have so many funny stories of him and Vernon Dutcher together.
Oh, Vernon Dutcher.
Oh my gosh.
Do you know where that guy is?
No, I have no idea.
Like Wichita and disappeared, right?
El Dorado.
El Dorado.
Yeah, I don't know if he's still there or not. He was on Facebook under a couple different, Dutcher, and
Oh, okay. I didn't know that.
but I don't know what
He got too crippled to shoot, didn't he?
Probably.
I saw him.
I think that
The last
his
time I saw
attitude
him.
had a lot to do with, he was kind of angry a lot of times. And
Yeah.
it seemed like, and realistically, I think it got worse after Steve died.
Yep. Yeah, Steve tragically took his own life, and
Yeah.
that was.
And I tell you what, that I had utter contempt for someone that was selfish enough to take their own life
Yeah,
until Steve did it, and it changed my. I'm like I still don't. I mean, if I would have known, of course, what I know now, I'd have busted his door down.
right.
But I had such tremendous respect, and I treaded so lightly because I literally, when I got invited over to shop, I took it
Personally, yeah.
very, very, whatever word I'm looking for, but so I treaded very lightly and made sure that I got invited back.
Yeah.
So, but Steve, somebody that was just, in my eyes, could do no wrong. I mean, everything he did was perfectionist.
Yep.
But then, of course, after he passed away,
Then you hear the stories. Yeah.
then you learn really what the poor guy was going through. So
Yeah.
it changed my perspective a lot. I mean, I still don't think it's always and forever but I don't necessarily have as much contempt for someone that,
Right.
I mean, I still think it's selfish and still should never happen. But when your hero does it and you have no idea,
Yep.
to where, and then
Yeah, it was a shock.
oh
It
my
was a
gosh.
big shock, and
Yeah.
I knew him pretty well. Like we did some traveling together, and
Yeah, he used to talk all the time about coming down when you first opened the school
Yeah.
and make shoes on the weekends.
Yeah,
and
we used
get
to-
ready for a contest.
we used to forge a lot together. And so I would always beat him in time. If it was a tight class, I could win with my turd. But if there was enough time, he would always beat me with his gym.
Yeah, well, my sacred buckle is that Steve Hayes memorial buckle.
Memorial buckle. Yeah, I think I've got one too.
Yep, you got the first one.
I won that one.
Yep.
Yeah, you got one. But
Yep, you won the first one, and then Brian Barrett won the second one, and I won the third one.
okay.
Yeah, and I couldn't even talk.
Yeah,
I mean, that was
big deal.
big deal. And I still have his stamp.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I have a fire poker that he made. It was made out of 3x3. He squared it up, did a pineapple twist, and then a taper. And it's a taper's to do a perfect taper for 18 inches.
Right?
That takes some doing.
Oh,
and
man.
that taper is just like it was
Like
milled.
machined.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, like his.
But that's how he did stuff.
I would take all my punches and pretzels over there with me,
Yep.
and I'd lay them out on my table, and then he'd give me something to do, and I'd be working on it, and he'd walk over and never say anything. Pick that punch up, and then he'd walk off. And he used a belt sander, a handheld, belt sander, and he'd hold it upside down, and he'd hit that trigger, and he could sit there, and it'd be this close to his head, and he'd fix them punches, with that. And by the time I left, all my punches had looked brand new. He couldn't take it, though. He couldn't take it.
He couldn't take stuff being out of place.
Oh, no. That's what I was very conscious of when I was there.
Dusty used to go over and move things around. Him and Vernon.
Yeah, mess with him. And
Change the paintings.
I'm like, I ain't messing this up. I'm not going to. Yeah.
Yeah.
Of course, that's Dusty, though. I mean, that's Dusty. He's gonna.
Oh, yeah.
He's gonna mess with everybody.
He's such a gem of a guy. Oh, you gotta love Dusty.
Absolutely.
He's such a just a wonderful human. And his dad.
His dad is.
If you guys-
I mean, but that you talk to Jerry and be around Jerry, and you know why Dusty's such a good human being.
Yeah. Yeah, so I did do a podcast with Dusty's dad as well. I've had Dusty twice now.
Oh, really?
Yep.
I ain't even seen those.
Yep.
Because I love Jerry's. I mean, I could hang around and sit there and visit with Jerry for.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, what an incredible
So
individual.
I had Dusty before the cancer, and then I got him again after the cancer.
Oh, I
And
must
so-
go back and listen to those.
Yeah. Pretty cool perspective.
Yeah, Dusty is. The very first time I ever met him was at a 4-H, kind of like the Missouri State Fair at their 4-H finals in Missouri, and Dusty had stolen Charlie shoeing truck because he was living in Pittsburgh or over there around Fort Scott or whatever, and Stacy was going to college there, I think, and then Cody Lyons, I think is
Cody Lyons was his best friend.
his best friend.
He got killed. It was a car wreck. Truck wreck.
And they were both down there at that 4-H deal, and I can honestly say we had so much fun, and just met him.
Yeah.
And we had so much fun that weekend. And then he moved to East Lynn, and I mean, we've been all. Dusty took me to my first contest in Lubbock.
Oh yeah, you guys traveled a ways.
Yeah, and then
Then
he would come with me, like he'd say, because we'd have a contest in Missouri or Kansas. He's like, "You come to the contest?" I'm like, "No, dude, I got to shoot horses." So he would go with me all day long, and we'd knock all my horses out so that I could go Friday
Yep.
to the contest.
Yeah.
And you try to pay him, and you get in a fist fight, in the gravel.
Yeah.
But he's had a huge impact, and of course, what a career he's
Oh yeah.
unbelievable how he's
done well.
done so good.
Yeah.
I got a funny story about him. As I went and helped him for a week, well, about 3 days when he had his cancer, and we went to a 3-day event barn, and there's a great big red mare, and on the right front foot, I mean, she's just jerking me around. And of course, I'm trying not to act like a dude, you know, and so anyway, I dropped the foot, and Dusty asked me what I need, and he said, "Hey, dude," he says, "that mare got hung up on a post and colt and hurt her shoulder." He said, "So just keep her foot real low and keep it underneath her, and she'll be fine." So I'm like, okay. So I did. I got myself way out of whack, but I kept her foot low and stood there like a rock. Well, I got her shot up, and I told Dustin, I'm like, "Yeah, I kept that foot low, and she's fine." He goes, "There wasn't nothing wrong with that shoulder." He said, "You just had her leg cranked out there so far to try to make yourself comfortable." He said that she wasn't having it. And I'm like, "Really, dude? Are you kidding me?" He said, "No, there wasn't nothing wrong with her shoulder." He said, you're trying to free up your right arm, so you're yanking her foot out there." He said, "You do it on every foot. I've noticed it all week long." And I'm like, I'm just sitting there. And then he hits me, he says, I've been educating for a while, Rob." Yeah.
Oh man.
It's totally Dusty. I mean, and say it so...
Deadpan.
Man, she's hurt that shoulder, you know. It makes so convincing. And then he's had to been chomping at the bit, waiting to burst my bubble, you know, to tell me there wasn't nothing wrong with the shoulder after I was all done with it.
Yeah, but he lets you get through it first.
Yep.
That's good. Yeah.
Yeah. That's why I say people that...
Most of us from that era anyway, I can always just pick up where we left off. You know,
Right.
like I haven't seen you in a while, but it doesn't seem to matter. Like,
No.
you know, within 5 minutes, we're just right back where we were.
Right.
Last time we were sitting around a amble somewhere.
Yeah. It's really cool because I hear of the stories that where when two horseshoers showed up at the same bar, there was one of them was either leaving or there was a fist fight.
Right.
And that was
It hadn't
before
been
my
experienced.
area.
Yep.
You know, to where...
Well, you know what it is? We were lucky enough to shoe. I started in 87, you started in 91, so pretty close to the same time. But at that time, and ever since, there's been more business than there's been people to do it.
Right.
So we haven't had to be cutthroat. You know, there's always another horse to do.
And I'm so thankful for that, though, too. I mean, because the
but
people
it's made it nice for us to be friends. Because
Absolutely.
otherwise,
you've had a huge impact on my life. Steve Hayes, Dusty Franklin, so many people that, I never would have ever. What's the odds of me meeting you or Steve, you know, without horseshoeing? That's
Right.
why I say.
But if we were carpenters or plumbers or remodelers, we would be a little more guarded because it's not the sheer volume of businesses out there.
I guess so.
It's so hard to learn.
Yeah.
I had one quit this morning, and you know I tell them at the beginning of the week the reason that we get paid so well to shoe horses is because not everybody can do this.
Right.
Not everybody can get past what I'm about to do to you guys for the next 6 months. There are a lot of people that can't endure that.
Right, and that's the thing is every single thing you do is hard.
Right, and hard to learn.
Hard to learn and hard physically on your body.
Yep.
Everything. It doesn't matter. Just keeping the foot on the peg. Just keeping it there. Not.
Sometimes it's the worst.
Yeah. Not trying to at least perform a task. Just keep the foot on the peg. That's why. And it's hard. Yeah. You know. And you're right. And I think that's why, like when they did that study when I got out, is why 7% were only doing their own and 1% were making a living out of it.
Yep.
Simply because nobody sticks out that first year.
Right.
You know.
Well, and we make it even harder here. You know, they're still making horseshoe sandwiches. They're still having to shape their shoes and pull their own clips. It could be easier, right?
Right.
You could do a pre-shaped shoe, open and close it, nail it on. But by having them in that crucible, the rest of their life is easy. So,
Absolutely.
you know, it's like you're doing your cold plunge at 7 in the morning, the rest of your day is easy, right?
That's a good way to look at it, though, right?
Yeah, you get that. You get through that. What can you not do now? Why don't you tell us about picking up broncs? Is that a pretty fun thing to do?
I can honestly say, if there was any money in it,
That's
there'd be a lot of people looking for a new horseshoer. Because there is nothing in this world like picking up broncs.
Oh yeah.
Nothing in this world. You are in that. It's the closest thing to battle on horseback.
Did you ever rodeo?
No.
Okay.
I rode a few bareback horses in a practice pen and figured out that I was not any good at that. And
Because steer
team
wrestling,
roped a little bit, but I wasn't ever really getting good.
riding
at that.
bulls and steer wrestling, that's a pretty cool feeling.
Yeah, yeah. Well,
Picking up broncs even better, huh? Probably.
Oh my gosh, that picking up is.
And so, does it pay at all? Does it pay at all?
Yeah, yeah. It pays its way. You know, like.
So you're not donating your time?
No. I mean, I get a check. Now I tell people, I said, I get to ride broke horses. I got the best seat in the house, and I'm guaranteed a check.
There you go.
Yeah. So, and I get to rodeo every weekend.
Yeah.
But the horsemanship aspect of it, and the up close and personal, and the reading of the stock, and
Have you had any big wrecks? Have you ever run anybody over?
oh yeah, I mean I have before, sure.
Yeah.
I mean it's
Is impossible not to.
impossible not to. I mean the horses can't stop in midair, and if they check out and don't look to see where we're at, and they just check out, yeah, it's going to happen.
Right.
Now, I mean I've had way more close calls than I have actually. You know, I can think of. I'm trying to think how long I've been doing this. I've been doing it over 25 years, and I can only think of 2 guys that I've actually, and it was and just unpack their hand and check out, and there was no, you know, so there was no warning, and the horses, and you can tell horse don't want to run over somebody. You can feel it.
Yeah.
You can feel them. You know but.
I run over Cody one time. I was hazing for him. He was a bulldog, and steer set up, and he jumped anyway. I'm hazing. I'm trying to push that steer over. I just run him smooth over. He gets up and he's staggering. And he's looking around to go get it back on his horse. He tried to get back on and jump again, but there wasn't nothing left of him. You know?
Yeah, no, the picking up, and I love the bronc riding. I love the bronc.
Now you rode bulls too?
Yep.
Okay,
yep.
so
I don't like the bull riding. I mean, like I've got a really cool horse nowadays named Sully, big blue roan draft cross, and
That is like the epitome of a bull roping horse.
He
isn't it?
checks every box.
Yeah.
You know, he's probably 15-1, but he'll weigh close to 1,500. Wears a size 4 shoe.
What's he worth?
I turned down 50,000 at him at the buck and stock sale.
Nice.
You know, because not a white hair on him except for his frost, and I mean and you can use him to pick up broncs. He just doesn't have the run.
Right.
So like in the re-ride, you know, but he's not scared of anything. You know, I mean, he'd just soon fight a bull as run from one. I mean, pin his ears and.
How old is he?
He'll turn 6 this year.
Oh wow, so he's young too.
Yep. I bought him as a yearling. We drove out way out in western Kansas. Me and Laura did, and the guy said he had a yearling draft cross, blue roan draft cross for sale. So I'm like, let's go drive out there and look at that horse. And of course, here is this little. I mean, you could tell he's blue roan, but he's just a little dink. You know, I mean, just kind of tied up to a hitching post. And Laura looks at him and she's like, "You gonna buy this thing?" I'm like, "You better believe I'm gonna buy this thing." And I give $1,600 for him as a yearling. You know, I just turned him out, and I was trying to conquer bucking horses at the time that had quit bucking to make pickup horses out of.
Oh really?
Yeah. And
So you were training them, or you sent them the Amish?
I'd send them the Amish, have them broke to ride, and then you rode them every day because you scared to death to let them have a day off. It'd be 3 degrees outside, and I'd be gathering them horses to ride them just because you didn't want them to have a day off, and I got out of that foolishness. I mean, they were safest place around them was on them. It was being around them on the ground.
Right.
And them broncs they're a different animal.
Yep.
They're a different animal. That's why they're bucking horses. And so I got Sully, and he's, like I said, he's 6. And then I fell in love with the story of a guy by the name of Lynn Taylor out of Montana that was raising horses. He wasn't trying to raise pickup horses, but he's raising horses that you could go pick up on.
Okay.
So you could do anything. You can pick up broncs on one. I mean, because realistically, horses out there, a lot of people don't realize if a horse is bucking out there in the wild, there's something on his back.
Right.
And you're running your horse up to him and asking them to let whatever's making that one buck jump off onto you. And so if you can pick up broncs on one, you can
Do by any of it.
Yeah. So this Lynn Taylor guy, he'd cross some horses, some high rolling Ronies on some Oswalds. And so I was trying to find a Lynn Taylor bred horse, which took me down a journey of
A lot of roads, huh?
oh my gosh. And the story was amazing. I mean, the guy was just a phenomenal guy. He managed the Mustangs in Montana and would go out there and he managed on a certain amount of ground, which is astronomical. And he would go rope them colts and he would decide what, because he'd rope them, throw them, and cut them and then turn them loose. So he was managing them herds and he was deciding who was, and they were saying all the horses were all the Blue Roans and the Garulas and the Palominos and whatnot. And because he was the one that was
right.
And then of course politics got involved and he got out and he didn't own much ground and he day worked for a bunch of ranches. And of course in that country, you know, a 4,000 acre pasture is nothing.
Yeah, I grew up in New Mexico, so I know.
Yeah. So he went to buying mares, and people that he day worked for would let him kick mares out on grass.
So your Blue Roan is out of this line?
No, he's not. I have no idea how he's bred.
Okay.
But my pickup horses, the ones that I'm picking up on now, are Lynn Taylor bred horses.
So your Blue Roan, is it? Did you break it then?
No, I took him to the Amish and had Jacob in North Carrollton put 30 days on him. Then I kicked him out and brought him back his 3-year-old year. And then I got a good friend of mine, Josh Morrell, that lives in Oklahoma, and he picks up too. And he trades horses and swaps tack and whatnot. Well, he rides them.
Okay.
So I just ship them down there. So he's liable to have them 3 years, but by the time I get them back, they're solid.
Yeah.
And that's the problem with shoeing so many horses is
you don't have time.
I don't have time.
That's what I was wondering about. So I bought a little 5-year-old. She'd had 60 days on her. I bought her last May, and she turned 5 like 3 days after I bought her. But I did ride her every single day.
Yeah, you got to.
And she's pretty catty. She can scat.
Mm-hmm.
And there'd be a few times I'm tired and it's late and it's hot and I'm like, maybe not tonight.
Yeah.
But then I got to go tomorrow, so I better go tonight.
Yeah.
But I didn't have time, and I'm thinking about the number of horses you got to have.
Mm-hmm.
You'd have some serious.
Yeah. So I ship them to Josh, and Josh.
Okay.
And he rides them every single day, and he's a hand.
That's what he does.
Yep, that's what he does.
Yeah, that's nice.
And then so he'll take them, and that's kind of the deal because I don't have to pay him. I don't pay him to do it, but I don't ever ask for them back.
Okay.
So he knows he has them when he needs them, and I'm not going to come up and say, "Hey, dude, send them horses home."
Right.
And I figured out that I'm a way better pickup man and I have way more fun when I'm riding something solid.
Oh.
I don't enjoy the young stuff.
I like watching the flagger. Every time he flags his horse, what's the buck?
Yeah. I have so much more fun and I'm a way better pickup man.
Do you flag rodeos, Steve?
No.
No, okay.
No. But that picking up.
Pretty cool, huh?
Oh, it's cool.
So what would you be if you weren't a horseshoer?
I have no idea.
No second.
I'd be a cowboy. I would be doing something.
Horseback
or, yeah. I mean, that's what I always wanted to be. Ever since I opened that first Field and Stream magazine and seen that Marlboro commercial, I want to be a cowboy.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well.
Yeah. So I would be doing something like that. But.
So what can you teach me?
Oh my gosh! See, I've been stewing about this.
So you've had time. That's what you're telling everybody.
I've been running my yapper. What could I teach you? This is when my mind goes blank of.
Robert, you got so many experiences. You got tons you can teach me.
You're gonna edit all this out.
Maybe not.
Yeah.
Well, why don't you teach me how to pick up?
Okay.
Is something you can do with words or not?
Yeah.
All right. Okay,
the cool thing about picking up is if nobody notices the pickup man if they do a good job.
Mm-hmm.
Like so many people that I shoe for, especially when I first take them on or whatever, and I tell them I pick up. You know, they ask me if I ride. I'm like, yeah, I go to rodeos and pick up. And they're like, what's that? And I'm like, I'm the guy that rides up next to them. Off the bucking horses, and they jump off onto my horse. And they're like, oh yeah, yeah. Well, then they'll come to a rodeo that I'm picking up at, and they
won't even notice you.
Well, they know me, and then when I go back to shoe them, they're like, you know, we've seen a lot of rodeos, but we had no idea of what all a pickup man does in the arena. So the guys that do a really good job, they go unnoticed.
Right.
Now they screw up, everybody sees it.
Sure.
Everybody sees it. But if they do a good job, nobody's like, oh yeah, pickup man.
So how do you do a good job?
Do a good job. The horse comes first.
The bucking horse or your
The
horse?
bucking horse.
Okay.
Now I take that back. I mean, my horses are everything to me, so I'm not going to put them in
Danger.
So, but as far as like our job, the bucking horse comes first, the cowboy second, and realistically, we make the cowboy safer by treating it that way. So now, if somebody's hung up, you know, like in the bareback riding, a lot of people don't realize them guys are bound in there.
Oh, they come off over
They come
their
off the
hand.
wrong side. They're not coming out. So it's the pickup man's job, and our job is to get it all stopped. Our job is not to get him out.
Right.
Our job is to get it stopped. Everything come to a halt. And but timing is everything. Being able to read it and see where he's going to go, and then be there at the right place. So we want to be a half stride ahead. Your pusher. So a lot of people don't know, but the guy pushing is probably doing more work than the guy actually picking up, and
Okay.
he's more important than the guy picking up, because he's the one that's keeping everything going forward. Because you can't. That's why there's two of us. You can't do it by yourself.
Right.
So
right. Just like steer wrestling,
it has to be a team effort.
you have to have a hazer. You
Yep.
guys call him a pusher then.
Yep, we call him pusher.
Okay.
So if the guy's not pushing and he's not being aggressive, and he's got to be more aggressive than the guy that's actually doing the catching.
Okay.
You know, so yeah, and reading stock and timing. So you come in too high, you're going to set them up. You come in too far behind, then you'll never catch them, because they don't have near the weight with the saddle or whatever.
They go to running.
They go to running. It turns into a foot race. You're gonna, and it's that of being there 2 or 3 jumps after the tutor blows, to where, and it's pretty cool when you ride up next to somebody, and they're sitting up, and the tutor just blow, and then it comes together, and you're riding with and
they
you
just
catch
reach
him in the
over
middle of the
and-
pin, and then they're like, where did you even come from? You know, they're like, you know, and you can see I don't know what you can see and feel the sense of relief, them guys, when you're just like, you know, your hand will reach over and I'll take a hold in the bareback riding, I'll pop the flank and then I'll take a hold of the mane, and I was like, just let me know when you're out, you know, and they're like, oh, you know, it's relief. You know, there's nobody looking over their shoulder wondering where the guys are at.
Yeah.
And 2 guys that really work together good, you know, Jake McKellips, I picked up a ton of broncs with him, and Josh Murillo, the guy.
And do you guys switch off who's the pusher and who's the?
Depends on where the horse goes.
Okay, so you could do either.
Yep, you can do either.
All right.
So if, you know, 9 times out of 10, if the horse comes around, you know, facing away from the bucking chutes, if they're on the left side, the guy on the right gets him. Vice versa.
Okay.
You know, but being able to read it to where you're going to be there to push, but then if he sucks back you'll still be there to where the other guy. So you could be the catcher, and then in a split second you're the pusher.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Very interesting. All right.
Yeah.
Well, what about a dad joke? You got one?
Oh my gosh, the joke. I have been thinking about the joke. Most of them are vulgar, you know.
Well, give what you got, and we'll see if we can use it.
Yeah, I know that the
Going through the log.
yeah joke. I don't want to be the only guy that doesn't come up with a joke,
Yeah, that's what I think.
you know. But you get put on the spot like that, you just everything goes
I
blank.
told you hours ago.
I know, but I'm still on the spot even an hour ago. Yeah.
So no joke? This is gonna be my podcast without a joke?
I know. I may have to go Google one. and then we'll sit back down and
We'll phone it in.
you'll have to cut it up and or bring it back. I'm the world's worst at jokes too, because I'll hear a joke, and
You'll like it.
I'll like it, and then never remember it.
And there's got to be rodeo clowns at your rodeos. They tell jokes all the time.
Yeah, but they're all.
You can tell.
That's one thing I can honestly say. The rodeo clowns, like, I don't participate. I'm one of them stick in the mud guys that sit on my horse, and I probably look like I got a bad attitude, and they come over and I'll be like,
Just leave me alone.
leave me alone. You know, there's only very few have made me laugh. You hear them over and over and over, and you hear the same jokes over and over, and yeah. So, but if one does make me laugh, I'll go up and say, you know, dude, I hear these all the time, and most of them are not funny, but you did make me laugh tonight.
All right. So the rodeo clown in Calgary one year. You go to Calgary,
Yeah, went to Calgary.
even though you won't fly. Did you fly to Calgary?
I knew this was coming up. I knew this was coming up. Yeah, I'm scared to death.
But you would have gone to Calgary a bunch if you weren't so scared. What's the chance of 300 people is all being there time at the same time?
Well, what if it's
small.
the grandmas? What if it's one of them? What if it's one of them?
Then you aren't going to get.
And there's no whipping it over and popping the hood, and there's no missing the ground. In a vehicle, you can swerve. You may not survive, but you have the chance to swerve. There's no swerving in an airplane.
Oh yeah, you can swerve.
No, you swerve and you still hit the earth. Yeah, no. Let's see. We flew to Vegas for the NFR. Laura took me to the NFR,
How was that?
and I was scared to death.
How was the NFR? Or you don't remember?
Yeah.
You
No,
just remember.
NFR was really cool because I mean, you really get to watch some handy pickup men.
Yep.
Man, them guys are, I mean, just above and beyond.
Yeah, the
Next
best of the
level.
best.
The best of the best. Yeah,
But the flight, how was that?
it was fine. It really was fine. It
Will you go up with me?
huh?
Will you go up?
Are you? No, there's no way, dude. Because you know how bad I hate it, and you'd be. No, you would take full advantage of that. Yeah. No. I'll watch you. You can flap your wing at me and wave it as you
But
go.
you're not going to sit right seat, huh?
No way. Yeah, because David went with you and Cody up down to Dusty's.
Yeah, we flew down.
When
to
you
Dusty's.
interviewed Jerry,
Yeah.
and
He said,
he sent me a picture, and he says you wouldn't have fit because he was trying to get me to come along. And I'm like, no way, dude. There's no way. There's no Chris and Cody both at the same time. Are you kidding me? Yeah.
Oh, Cody, I think Cody flew most of that trip, and he flew nice. It was easy.
Yeah. I imagine. Yeah, dude. I mean, I'm a grown man, but I walk down that fuselage, and I have to have a window. If I don't have a window,
Well,
we're landing.
My plane will have a
Emergency.
window, no matter what seat you're in.
Right.
Yeah. I'm making you a little
I just
nervous
don't-
talking about it, huh?
Huh?
I'm making you a little bit nervous talking.
Yeah. I don't. I mean, I'm not, and I'm man enough to say that I'm scared to death. It just, I'm like,
All right. So anyway, I was in Calgary, and the rodeo clown, he come running out just a little late. And the announcer said, "Where you been?" He said, "Oh, I had to fix my bra strap." And the announcer said, "Bra strap? How long have you been wearing a bra?" He said, "Ever since my wife found one under my pickup seat."
that's a good one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. And then let's close it with a inspirational saying.
An inspirational saying. I've actually, I think there's 3 things that we as humans do not deserve whatsoever, but yet we still have it. It's the blood that Jesus Christ shed on the cross for us.
Yes.
It's the love of a dog and the willingness of a horse.
There you go.
And we have them every single day, and we are so undeserving. And I hope people really take that to heart of what I mean. Yeah, the love of Christ and the love of a dog and the willingness to what we put some of these horses through and how they take it.
It's unbelievable.
And it's unbelievable.
Yep.
And they're such an extraordinary.
It's not surprising that horses buck. It's surprising that they don't buck more.
I know.
Yeah.
I mean, it's because and so many of them, and you find those ones, and especially in picking up, I think that's what really is, they have to be a willing participant. They have to, they know the game, and they know what is going on.
Yep.
And yeah, they're an extraordinary animal. And of course, we don't deserve dogs.
Oh man, they're such a gift from God.
I mean, they are so.
You know, Blueberry been laying here the whole time, and I just get sad even thinking about when Blueberry ain't gonna be laying there. You know what I mean?
I found a dog on the side of the road, and I was on the gravel, and I was coming home, and I didn't have a dog at the time, and I always had a dog. Well, I seen this little dog run off into the ditch, and I thought, that looks like a little dog. And of course, it just started to rain. So I stopped my truck, and it was pitch black, and I opened up my truck, and I said, hey. Well, by the time I got pulled over and stopped, he had crossed back over on the road, and then here this little dapple Dotson, skin and bones, I mean literally skin and bones, and he come up to me, and he put his feet up on my rocker panel. So I picked him up, and it rained 6 inches that night. Everything flooded.
Might have
And
killed
he
him.
would have drowned.
Yeah.
He would have for sure drowned. And this dog knew that he saved my life. And I mean, a Datswell Dotson. Really? I mean, and then people say, and I hauled him everywhere with me. And then that dog, he went all the rodeos.
How long did you have him?
I had him a little over 5 years.
Ah,
Yeah, because he was old when I found him.
yeah.
You know, but you know, he was, and I had a red Aussie that I hauled for 14 years, and he was my dog. I mean, that dog knew what I was thinking. Like, he'd lay there and a horse go to pawing in the cross ties, and I'd go, hey, and that dog would walk over there and sit and wait for that horse to paw, you know, and then he'd nip at that horse's front legs. I mean, it's the coolest thing you ever seen. Yeah, Dutch was my dog. And they say you get one dog in your life, you know. And I kind of felt bad, as heartbroken, and I bawled like a little girl over that Dotson. I mean, I kind of got feeling bad because I'm like, I don't remember being this heartbroken over when Dutch died,
Right.
you know. But yeah, and I don't have a dog right now. Emma's got 4, so I kind of get a little bit of a dog fix at the house.
Yeah.
But I don't have one that travels with me anymore. But I usually had
Yep.
a dog that went everywhere. It didn't matter. We was going to supper.
Yep.
The dog went.
Yep.
It was just part of the family.
Right. So is Blueberry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just-
Well, he rode home in your car.
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I get it. That's why I'm like, yeah.
Yeah. Well, you have been a wonderful guest. I can't thank you enough for coming down,
Well, I
taking this
enjoyed it.
time.
This was fun.
Yep. So I think a lot of people are going to be big Robert McClaran fans after this.
I guess we'll see. Huh?
Thanks, brother.
Thank you. I appreciate it very
Yeah.
much.
Hey everyone, we are a month away from our 30th anniversary. We're going to be celebrating here at the Heartland on May 9th and 10th. We've got a big contest on the 9th and 10th in the morning. Jason Ellis is going to come cook us a pig. We just love to see y'all. So if you got a moment, come join us May 9th and 10th. You can check out the contest and get entered at heartlandhorseshoeing.com. Have a great day.